Good morning. Thank you for joining us here this morning. We're obviously here for a specific reason, and that is regarding homelessness in the city of Salinas. As you may know, attending the city council meetings, there has been a city ordinance that has been drafted by the city attorney, as well as his office. Brought it into the city council within our last couple of meetings, introduced it, has been given the consensus to move ahead with this city ordinance, similar to a no light or no sit in public streets and sidewalks, but it's framed under the personal storage on public property. I personally think it's something that is becoming more evident, especially when it's coming to the colder season. We have October, November, December, January. They're our coldest months here in Salinas. The warming shelter is non-existent. There's continued talks of it's coming, but there's nothing to show for it. We can allocate, as a city, can allocate money for inventory of trees, as you may know that, but we can't allocate for human beings. We can't allocate money for youth in the city, which is majority of the population, or even allocate money for housing for the most vulnerable in our city. We just came from the Monterey County Board of Supervisors chambers as they're having their session. We put it to their attention in regards to having a joint meeting with the city council, as well as looking into the city ordinance, as well as the people before you that stood in front of the Board of Supervisors and what they're going to share that are important points to be heard in the city. Right now we have Gresham, who is an editor and founder of Voices of the Street. It's a grassroots newspaper in Chinatown. As we finish, we're going to go ahead and move over with Wes White, and then we'll close it off with Anthony Prince, who's a civil rights and a housing rights attorney out of Berkeley, California. And then afterwards, we'll head over to Chinatown, so you can get some direct raw footage and meet some of the leaders there as well. And what we call that can be. It's also something that is possible, and that is regulated and sustainable communities within Chinatown in itself. Ben?
Hey, good morning. My name is Gresham. I represent the homeless in a number of different ways. We have a little newspaper, Voices of the Street, which features homeless writers and put together by the homeless. I also sit on the Downtown Community Board and a member of the C4 group that helps clean up the neighborhood. One theme that's common with all the homeless camps is they want to be part of the process. They don't like to be treated like so much cattle that run through a chute. They like to have their wishes and their needs addressed, and have to have a venue for being able to help. They also like to help their brothers in similar need, and wish to band together under some kind of dialogue that maybe works as a win-win for everybody. I'm just here hoping that the people of the Chinatown and in these homeless camps being as scared and worried that their property will be taken from them, worried that they won't have enough shelter and or cover and or possessions to battle the elements, and they worry. And I think we should make a diligent effort to come up with do everything that we can to come up with at least alternatives and some sense of help. There are a lot of people that say they're in the business of helping the homeless, and their resources are probably pretty low. I think that what we need is a liaison between the homeless community and those who wish to help and offer services. And I think members of the homeless should be an integral part of that, and that they should establish dialogue and keep dialogue to be part of the process, and therefore more interactive and more willing to work with the system better, rather than as a contributing member rather than as one that's told and dictated to. Any question?
Can you describe the cleanup effort, the sweep, what impact that had?
Well, there were a lot of tears. A lot of people were crying and running, and people lose terribly in those sweeps. They take what little they have and they move to another place. there's not a whole lot of alternatives to go. I know our needs of the community and our wishes for the community is to find permanent housing for these people and get on a fast track to do that. I think that these people that offer these services are basically strapped for resources to actually be able to come up with something that actually benefits and does good. But the point I was trying to make is that if people could just I guess I'm losing my train of thought.
Is there something that you think people should understand about the issue of homelessness?
It's not all their fault. A lot of people say, "No, it's your fault. You're down there." But that's not really true. These are times that we've been under government regulations. We've been under what it takes to build, what it takes. These are new times. These are the system that we've had in the past has obviously not worked. There's not enough housing for everybody. The population is growing. We need to look at creative and innovative ways in the future to maybe make a temporary homeless camp. Maybe make it run and operated by the homeless. Maybe some kind of cooperation for standards and needs, and I hope that all needs can be met. And I know the homeless people would highly desire an opportunity to enter into dialogue to create a community for themselves.
Okay, Wes.
Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about the ordinance itself. It's called the Storage of Personal Property on City Property Ordinance, and this ordinance will allow a 24-hour notice. So anytime a police officer, code enforcement, sees a tent, sees shopping cart, sees any bulky items, this includes couches, chairs, what have you, then they can pull over and say, hey, you know what, you got 24 hours to move. If you don't move, we're going to take your things. And so they come back the next day. If it's still there, then they have every right as an ordinance to confiscate everything they already have. These people are already emotionally bankrupt, physically bankrupt, and financially bankrupt, of course. So now you're going to take what little they have. This is going before the council on the 13th of October, so next Tuesday. And we need as much support as possible. They will implement it. They have 30 days after that to implement it. Then they will have they already have requests for proposals in, so they should have that ready by the time mid-December happens, just right before Christmas. And I have talked with the attorney. He did say that this is going to be systematic. It was confirmed with Don Reynolds, the Director of Public Works, and they do intend to unseat 1,700 people who are just barely making this as it is. You're going to leave a wide open crack. They're going to fall off of this step, and 1,700 people are going to fall into this crack. Just to get it off the city books, I'm not sure. But, you know, we're looking at people who are going to be deathly ill. They're going to have hypothermia. They're going to be wet. It's El Nino this year. There's going to be people dying. People are going to have to go to Natividad when they get sick. And, you know, we're going to have to pay for that. So taxpayer money is going to come out one way or another. And what we need, what I asked the board for this morning, the board of supervisors, is a dialogue between the CHSP, which is Coalition of Homeless Service Providers, the county services, city services, and also the stakeholders who are actually involved, which is the homeless community. And there's actually a management group that is trying to keep a little bit of semblance to a civilization. You know, I mean, you're not going there for voluntary reasons. You're going there because you got nowhere else to go. And now the city is going to say, go find somewhere else. That's all they want. And that's pretty heartless and cruel. Our mayor is already claimed himself to be the champion of homelessness. What's going on here? So I urge everybody to come out, public comment, and it will be an agenda item for the 13th. And we just need a lot more dialogue. This is not the solution, just pushing people away.
Your name?
Wes White.
Okay, very quickly, my name is Anthony Prince, and I am a civil rights and housing rights attorney. I wanted to make a couple of points. One is that the United States Department of Justice recently got involved in a case in Boise, Idaho, where a very similar ordinance is being contested in the courts, and the United States Department of Justice has taken the position that it is unconstitutional to pass the kind of measures that the city of Salinas is contemplating for passage here in this city against the homeless. They essentially are criminalizing homeless people. Homeless people are what we call status offenders. It's been decades. The United States does not prosecute people because of their status, whether they're juveniles or whether they have a drug issue or whether they are homeless. These are statuses, and they cannot criminalize the status, but that is exactly what they're trying to do. So the city of Salinas is completely out of step with where the law is going. And the United States Department of Justice, I would say that if the city attorney, Mr. Callahan, has introduced this measure, authored this measure, that he needs to study what the Department of Justice has said, because the Department of Justice has said that if you have no other place to go, then you have a human right and a legal right to sleep, to have shelter from the elements, to eat, to perform bodily functions, and that is a constitutionally protected right. Now, there's plenty of resources here in the city of Salinas. There is no reason why those resources can't be allocated to find habitable dwelling places for homeless people. At the same time, as Wes talked about and as Van talked about, there's an actual proposal from the homeless community to create a community and stabilize it there in Chinatown, where they're close to services, where they have they can function and mutually assist each other, where some decent housing perhaps could be established while more permanent housing is being sought. But I think it's the same issue as with the young people, as Jose was saying, where they want to solve the problem with the police. They want to arrest people, kick people out, or throw more police in to solve the societal problem, whether it's gang and the kids being attracted to gangs because there's no other resources for them, or whether it's homeless people who, through no fault of their own, have no place to live. So the city has an obligation, I think, to step in. But I would say from a legal standpoint that that what they're about to pass on October 13th, if it does pass, will not withstand a constitutional challenge. And I'm sure that here in Salinas, such a challenge will be brought against that ordinance. There is an imminent harm. There's a threat of imminent harm of placing people in possibly life-threatening circumstances. And this is something that the city should not treat lightly. So I hope I will be there on the 13th. I hope everyone from the community will turn out. It's not just a homelessness question. It's a question of what are the priorities for poor people in the city of Salinas.
Okay, so we'll be going to Chinatown, and we can talk about more of the policies that can be implemented by the city of Salinas. Unless there's any questions, but I think the best footage is going to be out there in Chinatown.
I have a quick question. If you could just provide some context as to why you're taking a stand on this issue. Do you have a personal connection with this issue that you would like to share with us?
I can answer it quickly here, but I think the best answer is going to be as soon as I get there because of my connection with everyone else. To be brief, Bianca, it's going to come down to relationships. The homeless community has been the first community to embrace me, even before I was an elected official. So I have never forgotten about that. Matter of fact, they even endorsed me. Does that mean much to the machine in politics here? It does not, but to me, it means a lot. It's a multitude of friendships and relationships that I have that continue to last to this day. So we'll see you guys over there. You can make it.
Thank you.
Film footage and interviewed some of the people on the street. That can be seen at Voices of the Street Facebook page. I'm sure it'll be coming out here soon. But there was a lot. It's always a lot of trauma. It's probably trauma similar to someone who has a wildfire coming through their neighborhood, and you've got just a few minutes to grab whatever you think is important and get out of the way. People had, basically, it was very peaceful. People had resolved themselves. They pretty well are aware of the general rundown and the status quo, but it's still disheartening to see the things that you've collected for your own use and benefits suddenly just being jerked out from under you and sent off with whatever blanket and clothing you can carry.
During the press conference, you mentioned that something a lot of homeless people say is that they want to be a part of the process. So we have this ordinance on the table. This is a prime example of them wanting to be a process of what could potentially impact them directly.
Certainly, people want to be a part of these. These are very communal communities. There's a tight bond binding these people together. They have to cohabit and live together, and they work with themselves, and they want to be part of the process. They don't want to be treated like cattle into the issue. Sometimes I think the people that are in business to help us is just that. They're in a business, and the business is helping homeless. But the actual benefit of this, very little trickles down. I think that if we had a group that was run by the homeless and managed by the homeless, I certainly think more empathy and need and use would trickle down from some of the dollars and things like that. And I think the city really needs a liaison between the homeless and the service providers, just for a matter of trust. Most homeless providers aren't familiar with how to deal with the needs of homelessness, or the people they're basically not qualified. So anyway, we like to work with them when we can to be a kind of a liaison. But the more that the people regulate themselves, the more they become a community in their own right, and the more they peacefully get along and work according to their own wants and needs.
You nailed it. You got it for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
City. That comes down to no sitting or no lying down in public streets, sidewalks, as well as not having your personal belongings, private property on the city or public right-of-way. It is enforceable. It's a misdemeanor. This is your most vulnerable group that we continue to advocate for. The chief of police has come out publicly before saying homelessness is not a crime. Yet city council and the mayor is now looking at the city ordinance that is going to criminalize the homeless. So it just doing the opposite of what we say. That's the reason and the importance of getting this message out for the next October 13th meeting that we're going to have at the city council. We definitely are looking for a more transparent way of approaching homelessness in the city, warming shelters, and allocating extra funding for our most vulnerable and needy in the city. And we want to continue working with self-regulated communities, and Chinatown being one of the main communities in the city of Salinas.
And just quickly, reaction to the sweep yesterday. Well, yeah, what is your reaction to that?
I think what has happened from the beginning to now, they've become a bit more direct on how this attack on homeless continues to be. So what we do have is the police department and the city of Salinas and the contracted workers take an extra step and really approach with caution. But that's not enough. I think it's the main direction of what has happened. So just because the efforts have become more dignified doesn't mean that we're not continuing to, we're just not getting to the core root of it. And I think our money is put in the wrong place. And that starts from the top, from the city council. I think it's evident, speaking to Gresham, who's the editor and founder of Voices of the Streets, and many people that were affected, there was broken spirits. Once again, no shelter. They have no mental health services, and when you start breaking down their tents and destroying where they once lived at, you're breaking their spirits as well, and that continues to be the case here in the city of Salinas.
Okay, can we ask you the question in Spanish just while we're here?
Estamos aquí una vez más para enfocarnos en el grupo y comunidad más que tiene más necesidad, los desamparados en la ciudad de Salinas. Desafortunadamente tenemos una ley municipal de la ciudad de Salinas que ataca a los pobres, los va a hacer criminales, son delitos menores por dormir afuera y no tener su vivienda y también tener sus cosas, sus propiedades personales en lugares públicos. Claramente que esto se enforzó ayer y había una comunidad que fue destruida por su vivienda, y también no sabemos a la fecha si le dieron delitos menores por el Departamento de Policía, pero viene siendo la ley municipal que se va a dar en acción para el 13 de octubre. Por eso es una llamada y es muy importante para dejarles saber a todos los miembros del público que vengan y se presentan para la Junta de Concilio de la ciudad de Salinas para el 13 de octubre, el martes, a las 4 de la tarde. ¿Por qué viene siendo importante? Esto viene siendo importante porque necesitamos que tener otras maneras en cómo trabajar con los desamparados. Tenemos muchas ideas en cómo pueden trabajar las iglesias, con agencias sin lucrativas, igualmente con miembros y líderes de la comunidad, en cómo se pueden dar esta gobernanza a ellos propios. Pero al momento no tenemos el apoyo del alcalde y de otros miembros del concejal dando estos fondos. Viene siendo como un negocio. Si el negocio viene siendo que son desamparados, pues vamos a darle más fondos, no para que ellos se puedan sostener ellos mismos, pero para que nosotros, la ciudad y el departamento de policía, los podamos meter en el mismo sistema y viene siendo el negocio darles dinero en manera de delitos menores y también en multas. Y estas multas y delitos menores son injustas. Por eso queremos hablar más públicamente y enseñarle lo que viene siendo este acto más criminal que viene siendo parte de la ciudad de Salinas.
Una preguntita extra. ¿Cómo funcionaría entonces la ley ahorita? ¿El policía va y le dice tú tienes que ir o
Sí,
cuál
puede
es el
ser.
procedimiento?
Sí, excelente pregunta. Viene siendo inmediatamente cuando ya va a ser en acción el 13 de octubre esta nueva ley municipal que ni necesita que darle ningún aviso para nada a un miembro de la comunidad, especialmente los desamparados. Por esta ley municipal es nomás un aviso o sin aviso y le dan su delito menor, su multa. Claramente que esa no es la manera de ayudar a la comunidad desamparada. Hasta más tenemos la ley federal, Departamento de Nivel Justicia, que puede meterse en este tipo de asuntos. Y esa es la atención que queremos llamar también a nivel federal. Si esta ley es justo o si es injusto. Y vamos para la manera que es una ley injusta. Gracias. ¿Tienes tarjeta?
Sí, ahora sí tengo.
Also, to any of the media that's here that might want to view some footage of the filming, basically I just called Michael and he's putting it up on our Facebook page right now. That's
What's the
Facebook?
so we can just,
Voices of the Street.
we can just get it from there. Perfect.
Rita was a member of Tents by the Garden, which was one of the first little chances to address a homeless camp run by the homeless and managed by it. And with that's here in Chinatown, right next to our little community garden down here. You'll see these little lots that are basically owned by the city, and you'll see them all fenced off. And they were at one time little homeless camps, and they would eventually come in, sweep them, fence them. People would move back to the next and sweep them and fence them. And so this was the last one of public property or private property. And they'll, I think it's in the pipe that they fence this one as well. So now the people just got nowhere to go.
All right, go for it. Well, so like the sweep yesterday, right?
I'll give you
That's like well over 100 people. And so like where are they supposed to go, you know? I mean, now they're just blocking it out. And from what I understand, there's an ordinance coming pretty soon. And if they pass it next week, that means right before December, right before Christmas, they'll be in a position to wipe this whole encampment lot area out.
It won't happen.
If they have the legal backing,
No,
they can do
because
it.
they got already another year up, and there's CSU and B over on the right-hand side, okay? And there's people all over here.
Yeah, well, there's 1,700 people, man.
If they want to do that, then
Freaking
all
A.
this-
And you know what they tried to do? You know what they
Hold
did?
on.
Where?
If they,
Right here.
they're having
Freaking dreamer.
all the phone, just keep spreading all around the town.
I'm
Exactly.
like, dude, I
Right here,
failed you
this little
yesterday.
community
I was
and
all staring up because I
Yep.
seen your area gone.
And
I'm like, dude, you better, if he's not around, he's
don't have nowhere to go and live here the whole life.
I did fail you yesterday. One I couldn't make yesterday. But I thought this position was
Right.
my property was the cost.
Trying to come get
It
the bad
ended
name,
up being,
Richard
it
system,
ended up being in my other
and everything, in
property.
every aspect of life. So, you know, people should just want to put it down and, you know, label it a bad place. Obviously, people that don't know their education or any type of research on something.
Antibiotics.
You know? All they're gonna do is keep fucking it up and make it problem.
Exactly, make problems worse.
What time? Coming around.